If you're thinking about hiring an attorney for whatever your legal needs are, here's 8 quick things that you should probably ask about before you hire them. Are there any costs? You're going to want to find out what type of costs that you may be responsible for, how much those costs may be, or if they can give you an approximation, and what is the best way for you to pay for those costs, and if you need to pay for those costs up front, or if you can reimburse along the way. How far will they take your case? Depending on the type of case that you have, there may be certain levels that your case can be taken, and you need to find out from the representative that you're talking to how far they're willing to take the case. Don't be surprised if they don't tell you that they won't know until they get all the evidence in front of them, but you want to at least get a general idea of how far you may be able to go with that attorney before you may need to go and get another one. What information from you do they need before they take the case? A lot of times what happens when people sign up for these free consultations or consultations, they go in and so forth, and they don't take a lot of information with them. Make sure you ask that attorney's office, what does she or he need from you in order to determine whether they can take your case. Copy of your file. Depending on the type of case you have, you may want a copy of your file when everything is done, whether it be because you just want to have it for your own personal record, or you might want to go to another representative for compensation or a second opinion. Find out if you can get a copy of your file when you're done, and more importantly, are you charged for it? What can they or cannot do? When you're talking to an attorney, make sure you find out the scope of what they can and can't do. A lot of times people go in with this expectation of their attorney being able to do certain things. You want to get those expectations addressed right away, so this way you're not upset if you find out that there are certain things they can't do or they can do. How often should you stay in contact with the attorney during the case? It's important for you to understand the level of communication that you have with your attorney. Some cases happen really fast, or some cases can happen a long time over the course of years. So you want to know how often you should check in, and more importantly, how often are they going to check in with you so that you can know what's going on with your case along the way. If you pay a retainer fee, what does it cover? There are 2 types of ways that you normally hear about attorneys getting paid. One is contingency fee, and the other is retainer fee based on billable hours. So a retainer fee is one where you go and you pay a bulk of money up front as a down payment on work that they're going to do for you, and then you're paying them along the way. Sometimes what happens when people put a retainer down, they're not totally sure of what their expectations is in terms of how that money is to be used. So you want to know up front, when you're putting that retainer down, how much does that cover, and when do you need to start worrying about making future payments towards paying for that attorney service. If it's a contingency fee, what happens if you lose? Every state is a little different when it comes to contingency fees, but contingency fee cases are contingent upon the attorney winning the case for you. But you want to find out is not only what happens if you win, meaning how do they take care of any expenses or things that are owed and so forth. You also want to know what happens when you lose, so that this way you can know what is your walk away. Are you going to be responsible for certain expenses? Do you have to pay for certain costs? Can you just walk away where you owe them nothing? The reason why these things are important is because you want to have as much information as possible about what the expectations you may have going into working with this law firm. Way too many times people hire attorneys and they have these thoughts in their mind and they don't address these things ahead of time, even when the attorney is trying to address them, and then what ends up happening is the person gets upset on the way out the door. Don't let yourself get upset. Address these things early on so you know what to expect.